y'all, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate, and we are Real Estate Elevated. Today's episode of I'm Moving to North Carolina Now What is a shorts edition. So today we're going to talk about the things that have changed in our contract. So a lot of folks typically live in a home 5 to 7 years, and it seems like a seemingly short period of time. In recent years, we've even seen folks live in their home as few as 2 years because of relocations, but the contract has still changed even since then. So here's a couple of major ones that are super important to know about how the contract looks different. A big one happened in 2019, and that's our finance contingency. We no longer have that attached as an addendum to our main contract. Meaning, if you lose financing because let's say you put something on a credit card, get a new credit card, do any of those big purchases that jacks up your lending and you no longer are qualified for your loan, you are still on the hook to find the money for your house. The second one is what conveys. As technology has kind of advanced over the years, we've seen things like Ring doorbells and Nest systems in the house. Those things now convey. So even though it might be super convenient for you to detach and take that Ring doorbell with you, you need to do that before you post your home in MLS or do any kind of marketing and advertising. Otherwise, it stays with the property. Another big one is the contract extension. So sometimes if the closing gets delayed or something happens during the contract period where you need a little bit more buffer in that timeline, you can do what's called an agreement to amend. However, sometimes both parties don't agree to the delay, so you can actually extend the contract and delay closing without the other party agreeing for up to 7 days. It used to be 14. So just a few years ago, you could actually delay closing by 2 weeks. Now it's only 1. So make sure that you're using your time wisely and being aware of your contract timeline. Another big one that we've seen in the last couple of years that's always kind of been around but not really in use is an appraisal addendum. During the COVID years, we saw a huge spike with appreciation in the market's bearing in purchase price being much substantially higher than that. So therefore, people were walking into appraisal gaps. So those appraisal addendums were to protect the intention of the contract and make people kind of show proof in the pudding that they were going to bring money to the table to make up any and all of that gap. So if you don't know what an appraisal addendum is or an appraisal gap, definitely talk to your agent before putting out that contract. And then the last one, and this one's kind of random, is fuel tanks. We've actually seen a huge change to our contract where the seller is required to disclose not only the existence of a fuel tank, but even how much fuel is in the tank, and it needs to be the same at closing. So if you're in a more rural location where fuel tanks tend to be a little bit more populated, make sure that you double check not only where it was at when you put out the contract, but where it's actually located. So in a nutshell, these are the major changes we've seen in the last few years in your North Carolina contract to purchase real estate. I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate.
All right, y'all, thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, share, and follow us on Instagram as well as YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts. Again, I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate.